welcome you to the biggest tournament in the Caribbean, the Punta Cana Poker Classic. From the spectacular Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in the Dominican Republic, come and enjoy poker in paradise with your friends and family and play in this rock star event. With a guaranteed prize pool of $500,000, it's your turn to win. AmericasCardRoom.net presents to you the Punta Cana Poker Classic from here in beautiful Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. We're going to show you everything from the final table, from 9 players all the way down to 1 over the next 5 episodes. Some great players from around the world. However, we're at a great resort, right, Stephanie?
That's right. I'll take you through the chip count and the player profiles.
And Tony is going to tell us some intricate stuff about the player themselves, right?
Thanks, Warren. So we're also going to see some interesting information about these players and how they made it to this final table. So stay tuned.
That's great. We look forward to seeing both of you throughout the show. Enjoy yourself and come on back. We'll be right back. Brought to you by AmericasCardRoom.net, the Latin Poker Series presents the Punta Cana Poker Classic. All right, and here we have 507 players entered, and here are the chip counts going into the final table. In 9th position from America, Sergio Ramirez has a little over 500,000 chips, and just above him by 5,000 from Canada, George Monsef. Jose Raul Castillo, for him right here in the Dominican Republic, has 610,000 in chips. Bob Kateski, also from Canada, has 730,000 in chips. Alan Ari Engel from America also has 995,000 chips. German Poncio, 1.7 million. And Stephen Jacobs from the United States, 2.2 million. Also from Argentina, Nacho Barbero, 2.3 million. Our chip leader today, going into the final table, from Colombia, Farid Jatin. He's got 2.8 million in chips. That's the chip counts. Here's the final table. Let's get to the action. And here are the positions for today's final table at the Punta Cana Classic. In first position from the Dominican Republic, Raul Castillo. Seated in seat number 2, Nacho Barbero. In seat number 3, Bob Kateski from Canada. The next 3 will be from the United States. Sergio Ramirez, Ari Engel, and Steve Jacobs occupy seats 4, 5, and 6. In seat 7, German Poncio, also from Argentina. From Colombia, our chip leader, Farid Jatin. In 9th place from Canada, George Monsef. And here are the blinds and the chip colors. The blinds are 25 and 50,000 with a 5,000 ante, and those blue chips are 5,000, followed by the light blue chips at 10,000, and the red chips are 25,000. And now we go with the final table. The very first hand, we're going to have George Monsef with the button, followed by Raul Castillo in the small blind, and Nacho Barbero has the $50,000 blind. Bob Kotorski, he's folded, so has Sergio. Ari Engel lets it go, followed by Steve and Armain, who both fold. And now we're on Farid, who is our chip leader. Looks like he wants to get involved in the very first hand. And he's grabbing some chips, and he is going to raise. He raised to 130,000. That's a pretty hefty raise. And all in instantly, we've seen George Monsef move those chips in immediately. No hesitation. He must have a big hand or feels that Farid was trying to set his presence at the table. But Farid does make the call, so we'll get to see these two hands. It's $555,000 each in this pot. That makes a little over $1 million for this pot. And Ace-Jack against King-10. Here's the flop. The flop is 4-5-4. There's a pair of 4s out there. Turn card is a queen. That doesn't hurt the ace-jack. And the river card is a 7. It looks like the ace-jack and George Monsef is going to double up in the very first hand. That's the way to play the short stack. And it doesn't seem to hurt Farid because he's still got plenty of chips behind. So someone took from the rich and gave to the poor, and George is very, very happy to get that information. Here are the payouts for today's Punta Cana Poker Classic. As you can see, in 9th place, it's going to be $15,490. So everyone at the final table is guaranteed to make at least that much. However, they're all vying for today's premier prize, which is first place and $177,045. Not bad for the price of the buy-in. And we're back to the action. As you can see, Sergio's got the button. Ari is in the small blind. Steve is in the big blind. Herman Poncio, first to act. He's moved out of the hand, and it looks like Farid is going to open this pot again. Farid now has raised it to $115,000, a little bit less than his last raise, which was $130,000. George Monsef is once again staring down at his cards. It looks like he wants to get involved, but he's let it go. So has Raul, and Nacho has let it go as well. Bob Catorce has folded. Now it's on Sergio Ramirez. Sergio has found a pocket pair of 8s, and he also is short stacked. It looks like it's the right move for him to get involved in this pot, and he does. He's moved his chip stack in. So once again, Farid has raised and been re-raised.
That's right, Warren. Let me tell you a little bit about Sergio Ramirez. He's visiting from New Jersey, United States. Started playing poker at the young age of 12. When he's not at the poker tables, he's playing baseball or soccer. Also, an interesting fact about Sergio is his highest cash tournament result was where he won $4,288.
And with Sergio Ramirez at risk, here's the flop. The flop is Jack, Deuce, Queen, and the Queen now takes the lead. The turn card, which is a 7, just one dot off from the card that Ramirez wants. He wants an 8, or Sergio will be eliminated. It is not. It's an ace of diamonds, and we have our first elimination here at the Punta Cana Poker Classic. Sergio Ramirez is going to go out in 9th place, collecting well more than $15,000. Walking around shaking hands, Sergio gets $15,490, and we're down to 8 players.
Alright guys, so we have the first player to leave this final table, Mr. Sergio Ramirez, who is taking home a huge prize of $15,000. That's almost 3 times the amount of his lifetime winnings so far.
And the players have created elbow room for themselves. And the button is going to be on Ari Angles. Steve Jacobs will be the small blind. Herman Poncio will be the big blind. And first to act this time will be Farid, and he certainly has acted on a number of occasions. Don't forget the chip counts denominations here, 25 and 50,000 with a $5,000 ante. The chips in play are still the same. And Farid is looking at his hand and lets it go. George Monsef, once again, taking time, thinking about what he wants to do. He's grabbing for chips. And he'll open the pot this time for $110,000. Raul lets it go. Nacho is now thinking about it. Got that poker face on. He must have a real hand here. He's thinking quite long. Nacho's one of the top players from Argentina, so He wouldn't be discounted lightly, that's for sure. Looks like Nacho's reaching for chips. And they're not just calling chips. These are going to be raising chips. Let's see what he makes it.
Thank you.
Nacho has raised.
Good.
To $260,000. So almost 3 times the amount. Enough for it to be a significant raise. Both Ari and Steve Jacobs. Well, Steve is thinking about it. Steve has got an opportunity to get involved in a hand here. He's looked back a couple of times. The second time through, this could be the opportunity that he's been looking for. And he is grabbing raising chips. So here's going to be the first 4 bet of the day. And Steve Jacobs has raised it to $875,000. That is a significant raise, but there's also significant money already in the pot. $1.3 million now. So it goes back to George, and George has got to make a decision as to what to do. He's asking how many chips Nacho has. Wants to make sure he doesn't put himself in between 2 of the bigger stacks. This might just be a hand he needs to let go. He is looking back, usually a sign that you're going to fold. And he does. And now we're back to Nacho, who was the person who made the 3rd bet into the pot. He's looking at Steve. Steve is looking at him. They're staring each other down. Nacho's trying to get a read on him as he takes his time deciding whether he wants to continue on with this pot or not. Significant amount in this pot, $1.3 million. Worth taking your time over, worth taking a look at. Why don't you guess at home what you think they have? Well, Nacho obviously doesn't have good enough a hand because he just folded.
Is Nacho Barbero. He was born in Argentina. He's not only considered one of the best players in the country, as a matter of fact, he's one of the best players in the world. His best WSOP main event performance was 89th place in 2008. One of the few players to ever win 2 back-to-back LAPT first places. The first Peru, the second Uruguay.
And don't forget now, the next player out will get $18,440. That means everyone at this final table is guaranteed at least $18,440. Now back to the action. Let's see what Herman does. Herman has raised $130,000. Staring defiantly with those mirrored glasses. Farid folds. George is reaching for chips, and he has called the $130,000. So we're going to see a flop here. This is the first time we've seen a flop where there's still action to go. The flop is deuce, king, 8, 3 different suits. So no flush draws, no straight draws out there. First to act is George, and he's going to bet. He's bet $300,000. Now this is a sizable bet into a pot that now becomes $675,000, and it's $300,000 for Herman to call here. And he has made the call, so we'll get to see our first turn card of the tournament. Here's the final table turn card. It's a 7 of clubs. That puts 2 clubs on the board where a flush draw and straight cards. So nothing really that could hurt George's hand, so he came out betting again. This time he's bet $225,000. $225,000, making the pot a little over $1.2 million. And Herman lets it go, and George is going to win this pot without a showdown. It's a sizable pot, and now George, who doubled up in the very first hand, has really bolstered his stack. The blind still being $25,000 and $50,000 with a $5,000 ante. Don't forget the blue chips are $5,000, light blue chips are $10,000, and $25,000 are the red chips. Now Farid is the button, leaving George in the small blind and Raul Castillo as the big blind. This puts Nacho under the gun, or first to act. And he's raised. So Nacho brings it up to 110,000. Now Bob Kotarski has found a hand in 2 red 9s, and he has moved in. Waking up is Poncio. Poncio is woken up with ace-king offsuit, and he's certainly going to make a playback here. What's he going to do? Is he going to call the raise? Is he going to come over the top to move Nacho out? Those are his options. I don't think folding, well, folding is certainly an option, but I don't think he's going to do that here. Looking down at his chips, trying to decide exactly the right strategy. And he has decided to flat call the 510,000. Nacho lets it go, and they're going to be heads up, 2 9s against ace king. The 2 9s are ahead, but it is a coin toss. Let's see what the flop brings. The flop is deuce 4 8. They both have diamonds. Here is the turn. The turn is a queen. 9s are still good, and a 7 on the river is great for Kotarski, because Kotarski now doubles up. And just like that, he's gone from one of the shorter stacks into a very viable position and an opportunity to really play at this final table.
I came to the Punta Cana Classic. I was here like 3-4 years ago and had a great time. Nice venue, good tournament, and I have 2 friends who I haven't seen in a long time, so we said, let's all go to the Punta Cana and party and play the tournament. Yeah, I'm in New York now, so I've been playing a lot of like East Coast poker tournaments, just at Foxwoods and Borgata and the Hard Rock in Florida also, so just local stuff, and then Vegas in the summer. Online comes back to US, that would be great. But yeah, when Black Friday happened, it's like living in Vegas, had girlfriend and house and dogs, and didn't want to like travel to play as much, so I only went for big events online. And now just been doing other things in the US and just travel for big live tournaments.
And welcome back to the final table. Great interview, Tony. And now we go on to the very next hand, where George is the button, followed by Raul in the small blind. Nacho is in the big blind this time. And the cards are going to come out, and under the gun and first act is going to be Bob, who's now got a lot more chips to play with. Bob lets it go. Ari folds. Steve has let it gone. Poncio lets it go. And Farid is now back looking at his hand, trying to decide what to do. He's found 2 10s and has raised to 115,000. I like the way he varies his raises. But instantly, and moving in, is Raul Castillo. I said he had to find a hand. It looks like he did. He found 2 8s. I'm not sure he's going to be too happy taking a look at the 2 10s that when they turn them over. And now, waking up in the big blind is Nacho Barbaro, who's just moved all in with ace-king. He's got ace-king offsuit. He doesn't know he's up against 8s or 10s. He certainly doesn't want to be the third person in a pot, knowing that he's that much of a dog. But he has moved all in here. I think he's trying to move Farid off this hand so he can get heads up with the short stack. That would be my play.
Wow, this is a really risky decision from Nacho Barbero. I think Farid is slightly favored in this hand, but if he calls and the cards don't help Nacho, that means he's out of this tournament. We'll see what happens.
But Farid has now gone into the tank. He's trying to decide exactly what to do. He's asked for a chip count. He wants to know exactly what he's up against. He wants to know whether it's going to hurt his stack or not. These are the decisions and the things that are going through his mind. And all Raul Castillo can do is wait to see what happens. He doesn't know that Farid's got tens. He does know that Nacho's got a hand, or he wouldn't have moved over the top. Are we going to get to see this action? We are, but we don't know whether it's two-handed or three-handed. As we leave you today from the beautiful Hard Rock Hotel and Casino here in Punta Cana, we leave you with a lot of drama. That's right, you have an opportunity for a three-way all-in and a possibility where two players can be eliminated. You've got Farid, you got Raul, and you have Nacho. Will Farid make the call? What do you think, guys?
Very tough decision for Farid. We'll see what happens. If he calls, it could mean that Nacho Roberto is out of this tournament. We'll see what happens.
That's a possibility. Don't miss the action next time. Come on back to the Punta Cana Poker Classic here, brought to you by AmericasCardRoom.net.